Detective Jack Monroe stood in the cold November air, his trench coat pulled tightly against the biting wind that whipped through the streets of New York City. A murder case had landed on his desk a week ago, and the details were as gruesome as they were puzzling. Sarah Whitmore, a successful young art dealer, was found dead in her loft in Soho, strangled. There were no signs of forced entry, and her circle of acquaintances was tightly knit, leaving only a handful of suspects. The most intriguing of all was Maya Laurent, Sarah's business partner and best friend. Jack had seen his fair share of suspects, but Maya was different. Tall, strikingly beautiful, with deep green eyes that seemed to hide a lifetime of secrets. She was captivating from the moment he first interviewed her. But more than that, she seemed untouchable, cool, collected, and unfazed by the weight of the accusations. Yet there was something about her demeanor that tugged at Jack's instincts. Something wasn't quite right. A few days later, Jack found himself standing outside Maya's apartment on the Upper East Side for a second round of questioning. As he waited for her to answer the door, a sense of unease crept over him, a pull he knew he shouldn't feel toward a prime suspect. When she finally opened the door, she stood casually dressed in a white silk blouse and jeans. She greeted him with a smile that didn't reach her eyes, remarking that she wasn't expecting him. Jack explained that he needed to go over a few more details about the night of Sarah's murder, and she allowed him to step inside. The apartment was just as he had imagined, modern, filled with expensive art and a view of the city that stretched for miles. When she offered him coffee, he declined, instead taking out his notepad and starting to ask her again about her whereabouts that night. She repeated the same story she had told him before. She had been at her gallery, preparing for an upcoming exhibition, and hadn't seen Sarah that day. As he questioned her, Jack watched her closely, searching for cracks in her composure. But Maya remained calm and collected, her answers smooth and confident. Still, something inside Jack told him that she wasn't telling him everything. He could feel it in the way her eyes shifted ever so slightly, the way her hands fidgeted when she thought he wasn't looking. Over the next few weeks, Jack dug deeper into Maya's life, her business dealings, her relationships, and even her past. The more he uncovered, the more he found himself drawn to her. There were moments during their interactions when a spark would flare between them, something undeniable that left him confused and exhilarated. He knew he was treading dangerous ground. She was a suspect, but the lines were becoming blurred. One evening, after following up on another dead-end lead, Jack found himself outside Maya's gallery. The lights inside were dim, and she stood alone, studying a painting with an intensity that seemed to mask something deeper. As he entered, she turned, catching sight of him. There was a small smile on her lips, but her expression carried a hint of amusement. She teased him lightly, suggesting that he was following her. Jack smirked, trying to hide the tension building inside him. He told her he was just doing his job, but even as the words left his mouth, he knew they rang hollow. There was more to his presence there than just the case. They stood in silence for a moment, the air between them heavy with unspoken feelings. And then, without warning, Jack admitted that he didn't believe she had killed Sarah. For the first time, Maya's mask slipped. She seemed genuinely surprised by his confession and asked if he really believed her. Jack hesitated, his heart racing. He told her that despite the evidence, something inside him told him she wasn't guilty. Their eyes met, and in that charged moment, everything changed. Maya moved closer, and before Jack could think twice, their lips met in a kiss that was as electric as it was dangerous. He knew he was crossing a line, but in that instant, he didn't care. When the kiss finally broke, they stood breathless, and Maya whispered that he had no idea what he was getting himself into. Jack's heart raced as he asked her to tell him the truth, but she pulled away, warning him that he should leave, her voice laced with finality. The way she said his name, so personal and intimate, made it clear that things had shifted between them, but Jack knew he had to walk away. In the days that followed, Jack couldn't shake the pull he felt toward Maya, but the evidence against her continued to mount. Her financial troubles, her strained relationship with Sarah, and the fact that she stood to gain from her death all pointed to her involvement. Yet Jack couldn't bring himself to believe she was the killer. His feelings for her clouded his judgment, and he knew it. The break in the case came when Jack received an anonymous tip, an envelope left on his desk containing photographs of Maya meeting with a man known for his ties to the black market art world. The images were damning, and Jack's heart sank as the realization dawned. Maya was involved in something far darker than he had imagined. Jack confronted Maya at her apartment that evening. She was pacing when he arrived, and when she opened the door, he could see the fear in her eyes. She knew why he had come. Jack didn't mince words. He told her that she had lied to him, that he had trusted her, and she had betrayed that trust. Tears welled in her eyes as she admitted that while she hadn't killed Sarah, she had gotten involved with dangerous people. She had been desperate, caught up in something she couldn't control, but she swore she never wanted things to end like this. Jack stood there, torn between his duty as a detective and his feelings for her. He told her she should have come to him, should have told him the truth from the start. She wiped away a tear, her voice breaking as she confessed that she was afraid he would never look at her the same way. Before they could say anything more, a sudden knock at the door interrupted them. Jack noticed the panic flash across Maya's face just as the door burst open. A man, the one from the photographs, stormed in with a gun in his hand. He accused Maya of betraying him, and without hesitation, Jack drew his own weapon. He ordered the man to drop the gun, but before anyone could move, a shot rang out. Maya gasped and clutched her side, blood seeping through her blouse as she collapsed to the floor. Jack fired back, hitting the intruder, who fell lifeless to the ground. Jack rushed to Maya's side, his heart pounding as he pressed his hands against her wound, desperately trying to stop the bleeding. He pleaded with her to stay with him, not to leave. She looked up at him, her eyes filled with pain and regret, and whispered that she was sorry. She had never meant for any of this to happen. As the sound of approaching sirens grew louder, Jack held her close, praying that she would survive, even though he knew their story was far from over. He realized the line between love and betrayal had never been clearer, and crossing it had changed everything. The man who shot Maya was revealed to be a black market art dealer named Victor Rossi, who had been working with Maya to sell stolen art pieces from Sarah's gallery. Sarah had discovered the illegal dealings and threatened to expose them both, which led Victor to kill her in a fit of rage. Maya, though not directly involved in the murder, had been complicit in the cover-up, fearing for her life if she revealed Victor's role. In the end, Jack realized that while Maya hadn't killed Sarah, her silence and involvement in the scheme had sealed her fate, tragically tying her to the deadly consequences of her choices. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.